The registration hall smelled like fear and aggression mixed together. Lily Reed walked through the crowd of alien cadets, keeping her eyes forward while carrying a small transport crate. Around her, creatures from 100 different worlds showed off their combat companions. A massive scaled beast with horns roared somewhere to her left. Sharp clicking sounds came from her right, where someone had brought a creature covered in bladed appendages. Nobody paid attention to the human girl with her small box. Lily joined the line at the registration desk. The cadet in front of her had a serpent wrapped around his shoulders. The thing was as thick as her leg and had electricity crackling between its scales. When it was her turn, Lily set the crate on the counter gently. The registration officer looked at her datapad without much interest. She was a tall alien with purple skin and 4 arms. Her name tag said Officer Tranks. Name and species? Tranks asked. Lily Reed. Human. Tranks's eyes flicked up briefly. Companion species? Honey badger. The officer's hands paused over her datapad. Say that again. Honey badger. Earth mammal. His name is Badge. Tranks leaned forward to peer through the crate's ventilation holes. Whatever she saw made her antennae twitch with confusion. That's a scavenger animal. He's my registered companion, Lily said calmly. She pushed her academy identification across the counter along with Badge's health certificates and bite insurance documentation. Tranks processed the papers, but kept glancing at the crate like she expected a joke. You know, this is the Combat Companion Tournament. The real one. Not the junior exhibition matches. I know. Cadets have died in this tournament. Companions have died. I understand the risks. Tranks made a clicking sound that might have been her species' version of a sigh. She stamped Lily's registration and handed back the documents. Arena 3. Orientation starts in 1 hour. Medical teams will be standing by. The last part sounded like a warning. Lily picked up her crate and moved away from the desk. Behind her, she heard Tranks mutter something to the next officer about humans and their strange choices. The orientation hall was even worse than registration. Lily found a seat near the back while other cadets filled the rows. Their companions sat beside them, or perched on their shoulders, or coiled around their feet. She set Badge's crate on the seat next to her and opened the top carefully. A small furry head poked out, black nose twitching. Hey, buddy, Lily whispered. Doing okay. Badge made a soft huffing sound and climbed out. He was about 2 feet long with gray and black fur. His small round ears swiveled as he took in all the new smells and sounds. Compared to the other creatures in the room, he looked tiny, almost cute. The cadet, sitting 2 rows in front of Lily, turned around. He was built like a tank with scaled red skin and eyes that had horizontal pupils. His companion was an armored beast the size of a small car with spikes running down its spine and a tail covered in venomous barbs. Is that your entry? The scale cadet asked. His voice was deep and filled with amusement. Yes, Lily said. The cadet stared at Badge for a long moment. Then he started laughing. It was a booming sound that made other cadets turn to look. You brought a pet to a combat tournament. He's not a pet. He's my companion. That thing. The scale cadet gestured at his own beast. This is a thornback from Craxus Prime. My world has 3 sons and predators that hunt in packs of 50. What does your little scavenger eat? Garbage. Mostly meat, Lily said. He likes eggs too. This made the cadet laugh even harder. More cadets were watching now. An avian female with silver feathers and sharp talons spoke up from across the aisle. I heard Earth was classified as a mild world, she said. Her voice had a musical quality. Is this really the best your planet can produce? Earth has variety, Lily replied. The scale cadet leaned over his seat. My name is Ravish. Remember it when my thornback tears your little garbage eater apart in about 30 seconds. He turned to the others. Humans. They live on a soft world with soft weather and soft predators. Then they come to real academies and think they can compete. Several cadets laughed. Even some of the ones who hadn't been paying attention joined in when they saw Badge sitting peacefully on the chair, grooming his face with his paws, that a door at the front of the hall opened and a commanding officer walked in. The room fell silent instantly. The officer was old by any species standard, with scars covering the visible parts of his scaled hide. His uniform showed rank insignias from 3 different military branches. "I am Commander Dresh," he announced. His voice carried easily through the hall. "This tournament has been held for 200 cycles. It tests the bond between warrior and companion. It tests tactical thinking under pressure. It tests courage." His eyes swept across the assembled cadets. "Many of you will lose. Some companions will be injured despite our medical staff's best efforts. If you're not prepared for this reality, leave now." Nobody moved. Dresh pulled up a holographic display. "Tournament brackets have been assigned randomly. First matches begin tomorrow at dawn cycle. Check your personal data feeds for your assignment." Lily felt her data pad vibrate. She pulled it out and read the notification. Her first match was against Ravish and his Thornback. Ravish had gotten the same notification. He turned around with a massive grin. "The universe has a sense of humor. I promise to make it quick so your pet doesn't suffer long." Lily didn't respond. She simply scooped Badge back into his crate and stood up. "Nothing to say." Ravish called after her. Lily paused at the end of the row. "See you tomorrow." She walked out of the hall while laughter followed her. Badge made a grumbling sound from inside the crate. "I know," Lily said quietly. "They don't understand yet. That's okay." Back in her quarters, Lily opened the crate fully and let Badge explore. The room was small but comfortable with a sleeping area, a study desk, and a bathroom. Badge immediately started investigating every corner, his nose working constantly. Lily pulled up her datapad and searched for footage of Thornbacks in previous tournaments. The creatures were impressive, she had to admit. Fast, strong, and their armored scales could deflect most weapons. Their venom could paralyze most species in seconds. She watched 3 different matches where Thornbacks had won decisively. Badge jumped on her lap and butted his head against her arm. "Yeah, I'm paying attention," Lily said. She reached into a cold storage unit and pulled out raw meat. Badge's eyes lit up and he made eager chirping sounds. While he ate, Lily continued studying. Thornbacks were aggressive. They relied on intimidation and overwhelming force. They expected their opponents to run or defend. Badge finished his meal and started grooming again, completely unconcerned with tomorrow's match. Lily smiled and scratched behind his ears. "They think you're prey," she said softly. "They don't know anything about Earth, do they?" Badge just yawned, showing impressive teeth for such a small creature. Lily shut off her datapad and prepared for sleep. Tomorrow would be interesting. The arena floor felt solid under Lily's boots as she walked to her assigned position. Badge trotted beside her on a loose leash, his claws clicking against the reinforced metal. Above them, viewing platforms rose in tiers, packed with spectators from dozens of species. The noise was overwhelming. Cheers, roars, clicking sounds, and electronic translations all blended together into a wall of sound. Holographic displays floated throughout the arena, showing competitor information. Lily caught a glimpse of her own profile on one screen. It showed her picture, her academy ranking, and her homeworld danger classification, Earth. Class 4 world, Mid Zone, moderate predator activity, standard gravity. Next to it, Ravish's profile showed Craxus Prime. Class 9 world, extreme conditions, apex predator saturation, high gravity. The betting odds scrolled beneath the profiles. Ravish was favored to win in under 2 minutes. Lily reached her command zone, a reinforced transparent booth where she would direct Badge during the match. She unclipped his leash and knelt down, checking him over one more time. His eyes were bright and alert. His breathing was steady. "You ready?" she asked. Badge huffed and shook himself, fur rippling. Across the arena, Ravish had reached his own command zone. His Thornback stood beside him, massive and intimidating. The creature was easily 800 pounds of muscle, scale, and venom. Its tail swished back and forth, venomous barbs glistening under the arena lights. The crowd's noise level increased when they saw the size difference. More laughter rippled through the stands that a voice boomed through the arena speakers. First match of the tournament. Cadet Ravish of Craxus Prime with his companion Scar against Cadet Lily Reed of Earth with her companion Badge. The holographic displays changed, showing close-up views of both animals. Scar roared for the cameras, displaying rows of sharp teeth. Badge sat calmly, watching the Thornback with steady eyes, more laughter from the crowd. Someone shouted something about humans bringing snacks for the real competitors. Commander Dresch stood in the referee's platform overlooking the arena. His voice cut through the noise. Cadets, enter your command zones. This match follows standard tournament rules. Companions fight until one cadet surrenders or a companion cannot continue. Medical teams are standing by. Intentional killing strikes result in immediate disqualification. Lily stepped in her booth. The transparent walls sealed around her with a soft hiss. She could see everything but was protected from the actual combat. A control panel lit up in front of her with communication options and an emergency stop button. Ravish entered his own booth across the arena. Through the transparent walls, Lily could see him grinning confidently. He raised one hand and made a mocking salute in her direction. Lily simply nodded back. Badge stood in the center of the arena floor, small and alone. The Thornback moved to the opposite side, its claws scarring the metal floor with each step. The size difference was absurd. Scar was a living tank. Badge barely came up to the creature's knee. Competitors ready, Dresch announced. Match begins in 5 seconds. The crowd counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A buzzer sounded. Scar charged immediately. The Thornback moved with shocking speed for its size, covering half the arena in seconds. Its roar was deafening even through the command booth's walls. The strategy was obvious. Overwhelm the opponent with pure aggression. Make them panic. End it fast. Badge didn't run. That was the first thing that made the crowd's noise change. Prey animals ran. Small creatures fled from large ones. That was basic survival instinct across every world in the galaxy. Badge didn't flee. Instead, he moved forward to meet the charge. The crowd's laughter died into confused silence. Scar reared up on its hind legs, preparing to slam down with its full weight. The move had crushed opponents in previous tournaments. 800 pounds of armor and muscle dropping like a hammer. Badge dodged at the last possible second. Not a panicked scramble, but a calculated movement. He rolled to the side and came up running, heading straight for Scar's legs. The Thornback twisted, trying to track the smaller target. Its tail whipped around, venomous barbs aimed to strike. Badge ducked under the attack and jumped. His jaws clamped on Scar's throat. The arena went completely silent. Thornback scales were rated to deflect bladed weapons. Scar's throat armor had stopped spears in training exercises. The scales were overlapped layers of natural plating that had evolved to protect against Craxus Prime's apex predators. The Badge's jaws didn't care about any of that. His teeth found purchase and locked down. His neck muscles, ridiculously powerful for his size, flexed with crushing force. Scar made a sound between a roar and a scream. The Thornback thrashed, trying to shake off the smaller creature. Badge's body whipped back and forth violently, but his jaw never loosened. His front claws dug into the scales for additional grip. In his command booth, Ravish stopped grinning. His hands moved frantically over his control panel, trying to give Scar commands. The Thornback wasn't listening. It was too busy trying to deal with the creature attached to its throat. Scar rolled, using its own weight to try crushing Badge. The two creatures tumbled across the arena floor in a tangle of fur and scales. When they separated, Scar scrambled back to its feet. Badge rolled upright and immediately advanced again. This time, Lily saw something in the Thornback's eyes that shouldn't be there. Something no one expected to see in a creature from a Class 9 death world. Fear. Scar backed up, tail raised defensively. Badge kept coming, utterly unbothered by the size difference. Blood was visible on his fur from where Scar's scales had cut him during the roll, but he moved like the injury didn't exist. The crowd finally found their voice again, but it wasn't laughter. It was confused shouting. Questions yelled in a dozen languages. Holographic displays switched frantically, pulling up information about honey badgers in the referee platform. Commander Dresch leaned forward, watching intently. He pulled up his own datapad and started reading. His eyes widened. Scar tried a different approach. The Thornback lunged forward with its venomous tail. attempting a strike-and-retreat pattern. Badge dodged the first strike, took a glancing hit from the second, and then did something that made the entire arena gasp. He grabbed the tail. The Badge's jaws clamped down on the tail between two venom barbs. Scar tried to yank free, but Badge held on, body swinging as the Thornback thrashed. Then Badge did what honey badgers did best when holding prey. He started twisting. Ravish could see his companion was in serious trouble. Scar was bleeding now from multiple bite wounds. The Thornback's movements were becoming desperate rather than aggressive. This wasn't how the match was supposed to go. This wasn't how any match had ever gone against a Thornback. Badge let go of the tail and went for the throat again. This time, Scar reared back, exposing its softer underbelly in retreat. Retreat. A Thornback. Retreating. Stop. Ravish's voice came through the arena speakers. I forfeit. Stop the match. The buzzer sounded immediately. Automated barriers dropped between the two animals, forcing them apart. Medical teams rushed onto the arena floor from two different entrances. Badge sat down where he was, panting slightly. His tongue hung out, and he looked almost cheerful. Medical staff approached him cautiously while others went to check on Scar. The crowd's noise was deafening now, but it wasn't mocking. It was shocked disbelief mixed with confusion. Lily stepped out of her command booth and walked onto the arena floor. Badge saw her coming and trotted over, tail wagging. She knelt down and let the medical team scan him. Superficial cuts, one medic reported, her voice full of confusion. Minor venom exposure, but he seems completely unaffected. How is that possible? Honey badgers have natural resistance to many venoms, Lily explained calmly. Their skin is also very thick and loose. Makes it hard to land serious bites. The medic looked at her scanning equipment like it was broken. His pain response seems almost non-existent. Yeah, Lily said, scratching Badge behind his ears. That's normal for his species. Across the arena, Ravish stood outside his command booth, staring at his Thornback. Scar would be fine after treatment, but the psychological damage was clear. The creature kept looking toward Badge nervously. Commander Dresch's voice came through the speakers. Winner, Cadet Lily Reed. The crowd's response was a confused mixture of cheers and stunned silence. Lily picked up Badge's leash and headed for the exit. As she walked past Ravish, the scaled cadet just stared at her. What is that thing? He finally asked. I told you, Lily said. He's a honey badger from Earth. But Earth is class 4. Mild world. Lily paused. Maybe you should check what the classification actually measures. She continued walking, leaving Ravish standing there with his mouth open. Above them, the holographic displays were already showing replays of the match. And cadets throughout the arena were frantically searching for information about Earth's animals. The Academy library was packed for the first time in years. Students crowded around data terminals, their voices creating a constant buzz of conversation. Every few seconds, someone would make a sound of shock or disbelief, drawing others to look at their screen. Lily sat at a corner table with Badge curled up in a bed at her feet. She was reviewing her next match assignment when Sela, the avian cadet with silver feathers, approached her table. The bird-like alien moved with quick, nervous energy. May I sit? Sela asked. Lily gestured to the empty chair. Go ahead. Sela perched on the chair's edge, her talons gripping the seat. I watched a match 3 times. I'm trying to understand what happened. Badge fought. He won. But how? Sela leaned forward. Thornbacks are predators from Class 9 world. Their evolution was shaped by constant danger. Your companion is from Earth, Class 4, and he barely weighs 25 pounds. The physics don't make sense. Weight isn't everything, Lily said. I've been researching your planet. Sela pulled up her datapad, scrolling through files. Earth's classification is based on current conditions. Stable climate, established ecosystems, low radiation levels. But your evolutionary history is different. She turned the datapad around, showing a timeline. Your planet has had 5 major extinction events. Asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions. The species that survived those events developed extreme traits. That's correct. Your honey badger's venom resistance evolved because it hunts venomous snakes. Its thick skin developed because it fights predators much larger than itself. Its pain tolerance is abnormal because that trait helped its ancestors survive injuries long enough to reproduce. Scylla's feathers ruffled with agitation. These aren't traits from a mild world. These are survival adaptations from repeated apocalypses. Lily nodded. Earth looks peaceful now. But getting to this point required surviving things that wiped out most other life forms multiple times. I found videos of other Earth animals. Scylla scrolled through her datapad again. Wolverines that fight bears. Birds called cassowaries that can disembowel large predators. Water mammals called orcas that hunt cooperatively using tactics we teach in advanced military strategy courses. She looked up at Lily. Why is Earth classified as Class 4? Because the classification measures current environmental danger to visiting species. Modern Earth has cities, controlled nature preserves, and established safety protocols. The weather is generally predictable. The predators are mostly in wilderness zones. For a visitor staying in populated areas, Earth is safe. But for something that evolved there naturally, it's a different story, Lily finished before Scylla could respond. Ravish approached their table. The scaled cadet looked uncomfortable. His thornback companion wasn't with him. Reed, he said. Can we talk? Lily gestured to another empty chair. Ravish sat down heavily. Scar is fine physically. The medical team treated his wounds. But he's different now. Nervous. He keeps watching the door like he expects your companion to appear. That's normal after losing a fight, Lily said gently. Thornbacks don't lose fights. That's the point of bringing them from Craxus Prime. Ravish rubbed his scaled face. I need to apologize. I mocked you and your companion. I assumed you were weak because Earth has a low classification number. You weren't the only one, Lily said without accusation in her voice. I've been researching too. Ravish pulled out his own datapad. I found documentation about human military operations. Small units that operate behind enemy lines for weeks without resupply. Soldiers that can run for hours at a pace that would exhaust most species. Medics that keep fighting even after being wounded. He looked at Lily directly. Your species are persistence predators. You just chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion. That's terrifying. It's efficient, Lily said with a small smile. Scylla clicked her beak thoughtfully. I'm trying to apply this understanding to our upcoming match. You and I face each other in the semifinals. I saw the bracket. My companion is a razor talon. He's a flighted predator with enhanced reflexes and bladed wing edges. He can strike from above faster than most species can track. Scylla's eyes were sharp. I won't underestimate you. How do I prepare for something from Earth? Lily considered the question. Badge stirred at her feet, yawning to show impressive teeth. Honestly, your razor talon has advantages. Flight is powerful. Badge is ground-based. But, Scylla prompted, but Badge is a problem solver. Honey badgers in the wild dig complex burrows, raid beehives despite being stung hundreds of times, and adapt their hunting strategies based on prey behavior. He won't approach your companion the same way he approached Scar. Scylla's feathers flattened against her body, a sign of respect in her species. You're not going to give me specific tactical advice, are you? Would you? No, Scylla admitted. But I wanted to try. She stood up, preparing to leave. When we fight, I'll give you my best effort. You've earned that respect. After Scylla left, Ravish remained at the table. Are there more humans like you at this academy? A few. We're a relatively new species to the galactic community. Most academies have limited slots for us. That's going to change after this tournament, Ravish predicted. Every cadet here is now looking at Earth differently. Commander Dresch held a special lecture this morning about human military history. The attendance was mandatory, but it didn't need to be. Everyone wanted to attend. Lily raised her eyebrows. Really? He talked about human tactics. How your species forms bonds, not just with each other, but with other animals. How you domesticated predators like wolves and turned them into companions. How you train animals from completely different evolutionary backgrounds to work with you. Ravish gestured at Badge. Most species choose companions that reflect their own strengths. Predators pick predators. Pack hunters pick pack hunters. But humans pick something different. You pick survivors. I never thought about it that way. Dresh said that tells him more about human psychology than anything else. You don't bond with power. You bond with resilience. Ravish stood up. I'm going to watch your next matches. Learning what I can before I have to face you in future tournaments. You're staying in. Scar needs time to recover mentally, but yes. We'll be back. Ravish nodded respectfully. Good luck against Sela. She's extremely skilled. After Ravish left, Lily returned to studying her match data. Badge woke up fully and started nosing at her leg. She reached down to scratch his head. You're causing quite a reaction, she told him. Badge made a happy grumbling sound. Lily's datapad chimed with a new message. It was from Commander Dresh, requesting a meeting in his office. She looked down at Badge. Guess we're about to get official attention. Dresh's office was sparse and functional. The walls displayed commendations from 3 different military branches and a few pictures of the commander with various units. He was reviewing something on his desk display when Lily entered with Badge on his leash. Cadet Reed, thank you for coming. Dresh gestured to a chair. Please sit. Your companion can remain with you. Lily sat. Badge settled at her feet, immediately beginning to groom himself. I wanted to discuss something with you. Dresh began. The tournament committee is requesting that I file a formal review of Earth's classification system. Because of one match. Because of what that match revealed about our assumptions. Dresh pulled up a holographic display showing planetary classifications. We rate worlds based on environmental hostility to visitors, radiation levels, atmospheric composition, predator density, disease vectors. Earth scores low on most of these metrics because humans have made their world safer through technology and civilization. That makes sense, but we're missing something crucial. We're not measuring evolutionary pressure. We're not accounting for what it takes to survive on a world long enough to develop civilization in the first place. Dresh zoomed in on Earth's classification. Your planet has what we call a competitive ecosystem. Multiple apex predators, efficient prey species, parasites, and diseases that evolved alongside potential hosts. Everything on Earth survived by getting better at surviving. Most planets are like that, Lily said. Not to Earth's degree. Most worlds have 1 or 2 dominant species that control their environments. Earth has thousands of species competing directly for resources. Your oceans alone contain predators ranging from microscopic parasites to creatures the size of our spacecraft. Dresh shook his head. The committee is now reviewing combat footage from previous tournaments. Every human cadet who brought an Earth companion has performed above predictions. Not because the animals are physically superior, but because they're adaptable and resilient. What does this mean for the tournament? Nothing immediate. Your matches continue as scheduled. But in the future, Earth species may receive different evaluation criteria. Dresh smiled slightly. Your honey badger has started a larger conversation about how we judge planetary danger. Badge will be pleased to know he's educationally significant. Dresh actually laughed. Dismissed, Cadet. Good luck in your next match. Lily stood and headed for the door with Badge trotting beside her. Reed, Dresh called after her. For what it's worth, I've fought alongside human soldiers before. I knew Earth was more than its classification suggested. Thank you for proving it to everyone else. Lily nodded and left the office. Outside, Badge looked up at her and huffed. Yeah, Lily agreed. Let's go prepare for Sela. She's going to be tougher than Scar. Badge made an unconcerned grumbling sound and pulled toward the direction of their quarters. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Rain hammered against the arena's transparent dome, creating patterns of water that distorted the lights. The weather control system had malfunctioned overnight, and the tournament organizers decided to let nature take its course. The arena floor was now slick with moisture, and the environmental controls had adjusted to match the outdoor conditions. Lily stood at the edge of the combat zone, checking Badge one final time. The honey badger seemed unbothered by the rain that dripped through the safety barriers. He shook water from his fur and looked around with his usual curiosity. Across the arena, Sela stretched her wings, preparing her razor talon for the match. The bird companion was magnificent. Its wingspan stretched nearly 12 feet, with feathers that gleamed like polished metal. Sharp talons clicked against the wet floor, and its eyes were golden and focused. The viewing stands were more crowded than they had been for the first match. Word had spread throughout the station about the human cadet and her unlikely companion. Betting pools had shifted dramatically. Lily was no longer the overwhelming underdog, though Sela still held the advantage according to the odds makers. Commander Drescha's voice echoed through the arena. Semi-final match. Cadet Sela of Quilon with her companion Swift against Cadet Lily Reed of Earth with her companion Badge. Standard tournament rules apply. Competitors, enter your command zones. Lily stepped in her booth. Through the transparent walls, she could see the entire arena clearly. The wet floor would change how both animals moved. Badge's claws would give him decent traction, but Swift could simply avoid the ground entirely. Sela entered her booth with smooth, practiced movements. She gave Lily a respectful nod through the dividing distance. The countdown began. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. The buzzer sounded. Swift launched into the air immediately. His wings caught the air currents inside the dome, carrying him upward in a smooth spiral. The Razor Talon circled overhead, golden eyes tracking Badge's position below. Badge watched the bird circle. He made no move to chase or retreat. Instead, he walked calmly to a section of the arena where some equipment storage containers were built into the floor level. Maintenance access points and drainage systems created slight variations in the otherwise flat surface. Swift dove, wings tucked for maximum speed. The attack came from directly above, talons extended to strike. At the last possible second, Badge rolled under one of the slight overhangs created by a drainage grate. Swift's talons scraped metal instead of fur, and the bird pulled up sharply to avoid crashing into the floor. The crowd made appreciative sounds. That was basic but effective evasion. Swift circled again, this time approaching from a different angle. Sela was coordinating the attacks through her control panel, helping Swift choose optimal strike points. The Razor Talon was incredibly fast, and his reflexes were enhanced beyond natural limits through selective breeding. Badge moved again, this time to a section where water pooled deeper. He stood in a shallow puddle, watching Swift's circling pattern. The Razor Talon dove again. This time Badge did something unexpected. As Swift committed to the strike, Badge kicked backward with his powerful rear legs. Water sprayed upward in a sheet, directly into Swift's path. The bird instinctively flinched, closing his inner eyelids to protect his vision. It was just a fraction of a second of blindness, but Badge used it. He jumped upward with surprising height, jaws snapping at Swift's trailing tail feathers. Swift screeched and beat his wings hard, gaining altitude rapidly. Several feathers drifted down, gripped in Badge's mouth. The honey badger spit them out and went back to watching the bird circle. In her command booth, Sela leaned forward intently. This wasn't going as planned. Swift had speed and flight advantage, but Badge was adapting to each attack pattern. The honey badger wasn't trying to catch the bird in the air. He was learning the attack vectors and finding ways to disrupt them. Swift tried a different approach. Instead of diving straight down, he came in at a sharp angle, using his wing blades as weapons. The edges of his feathers could cut through light armor. A glancing strike could cause serious injury. Badge saw the attack coming and did something that made the entire crowd gasp. He went toward the attack instead of away from it. The maneuver caught Swift off guard. The Razor Talon tried to adjust mid-flight, but Badge's timing was perfect. The honey badger jumped and twisted, avoiding the wing blades while managing to grab Swift's leg in his jaws. What happened next was chaos. Badge's weight dragged the bird down, and they both hit the wet arena floor hard. Swift beat his wings frantically, trying to break free. Badge held on, his powerful jaw locked around the Razor Talon's leg. They slid across the wet floor, feathers and water flying everywhere. Swift managed to tear free, leaving behind blood and feathers. The bird flew upward, but his flight was uneven now. One leg was injured and bleeding. Sela's fingers flew over her control panel. Medical scanners in the arena were already assessing Swift's injury. The leg wasn't broken, but the Razor Talon's landing ability was compromised. Badge stood where he was, panting slightly. There was blood on his muzzle, but none of it seemed to be his own. Swift circled higher, clearly reluctant to come within Badge's range again. This created a stalemate. The bird couldn't attack effectively without coming close enough for Badge to counter, and Badge couldn't reach Swift while he stayed airborne. Sela watched her companion circle. Swift was favoring his injured leg, and his flight pattern showed fatigue. The Razor Talon could potentially stay aloft for another hour, but eventually he would have to land. And Badge seemed perfectly willing to wait. In her command booth, Lily remained still. She hadn't given Badge any commands during the entire match. The honey badger was fighting on instinct and intelligence alone. Minutes passed. Swift's circles became wider and lower. The injury and the constant flight were taking their toll. Sela faced a choice. She could let the match continue until Swift was too exhausted to fly safely, risking a crash that could cause serious injury. Or she could forfeit while Swift could still land under control. Sela made her decision. Stop. Her voice came through the arena speakers. I forfeit the match. The buzzer sounded. Barriers dropped between the competitors. Swift landed immediately, clearly relieved. Medical teams rushed onto the floor. Lily exited her command booth and walked to Badge. The honey badger trotted over to her, looking quite pleased with himself. She knelt down and checked him quickly. A few scratches from Swift's talons, but nothing serious. Sela approached from across the arena, moving to where Swift was being examined by medics. The Razor Talon's leg was being bandaged carefully. When the bird was stable, Sela walked over to Lily. That was well fought, Sela said. Her feathers were slightly ruffled, a sign of agitation in her species. Swift is extremely fast, Lily replied. If he'd managed to land a solid strike, this would have ended differently. But he didn't. Your companion anticipated every attack pattern. Sela looked down at Badge with clear respect. He wasn't just reacting. He was thinking several moves ahead. Honey badgers are intelligent. They have to be to survive on Earth. I researched them after your match with Ravish. I thought I understood what I was facing. Sela clicked her beak in what might have been her species' version of a rueful laugh. I was wrong. Reading about resilience and intelligence is different from seeing it applied in combat. Swift limped over on his bandaged leg and regarded Badge with wary respect. Badge made a soft huffing sound that wasn't aggressive. They're communicating, Sela observed. Badge knows the fight is over, Lily said. He doesn't hold grudges. That's a remarkably practical trait. Commander Dresch's voice came through the speakers. Winner, Cadet Lily Reed. Congratulations to both competitors on an excellent match. The crowd's response was enthusiastic. This time there was no mockery or disbelief. The cheers were genuine appreciation for the skill both animals had shown. You're in the finals now, Sela said, against Corvin and his crystalline scorpion. I know. Have you seen his companion fight? I've reviewed footage. Sela's feathers flattened against her body, showing concern. The scorpion is formidable. Its exoskeleton has stopped plasma fire in demonstrations. How does a honey badger fight something like that? Lily looked down at Badge, who was now sitting calmly and grooming water from his fur. I guess we'll find out together. I'll be watching from the stands, Sela said. Whatever happens, you've already proven something important. Earth deserves more respect than its classification suggests. After Sela left with Swift, Lily remained on the arena floor for a moment. Badge finished grooming and looked up at her expectantly. One more match, Lily told him. Then we can rest. Badge made a grumbling sound that suggested he was perfectly ready to keep going if needed. Lily smiled and picked up his leash. As they walked toward the exit, she could hear the crowd discussing the match. Words like tactical and intelligent were being used to describe Badge now, instead of small and weak. The crystalline scorpion would be a different challenge entirely. But Badge had already proven he could adapt to opponents much larger and stronger than himself. Tomorrow would tell them if adaptation would be enough. The training room was empty except for Lily and Badge. Holographic projections showed different angles of Corvin's crystalline scorpion in previous matches. The creature moved with alien grace, its transparent exoskeleton refracting light into rainbow patterns. 8 legs carried it across any terrain with perfect balance, and its tail curved overhead with a stinger the size of Lily's forearm. Badge sat next to Lily's chair, occasionally glancing at the projections, but mostly focused on the ball she would throw for him between review sessions. He seemed unconcerned about tomorrow's match. The door opened. Ravish entered, followed by Sela. Behind them came several other cadets Lily recognized from the tournament. They approached her table cautiously, as if unsure of their welcome. "We want to talk before the finals," Ravish said. Lily paused the holographic display. "All right, we've been watching Corvin's Scorpion," Sela explained, perching on a nearby chair, analyzing its capabilities. A cadet from a species Lily didn't recognize stepped forward. His body was covered in chitinous plates, and his voice clicked when he spoke. "The crystalline scorpion comes from a world with extreme mineral content. Its exoskeleton is partially silicate-based, incredibly strong. We've measured impact resistance equivalent to reinforced hull plating." "I've seen the data," Lily said. "Then you know physical attacks are nearly useless," another cadet added. This one was humanoid, but with blue skin and too many fingers. "The scorpion's only vulnerable points are the joints between segments. Everything else is armored." "We're concerned," Ravish said bluntly. "Badge is skilled and resilient, but this might be beyond what teeth and claws can handle." Lily looked at each of them. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you've changed how we think," Sela said. "About Earth. About humans. About what survival really means." She gestured at the group. "We're not trying to help you win against Corvin. This is still a competition, but we want it to be a fair fight. We want you to know what you're facing." "I appreciate that." The chitinous cadet pulled up his own datapad. "The scorpion's venom is crystalline-based. It doesn't work like organic venom. Instead of attacking nerves or blood, it causes rapid calcification. Flesh turns to mineral. Most species experience total paralysis in seconds. Has anyone tested it on Earth biology?" "No data available," the cadet admitted. Ravish leaned against the wall. "Corvin is a good fighter. Honorable. He won't make mistakes like I did. He respects you already. That makes him more dangerous because he'll be careful." "I understand. Do you have a strategy?" Sela asked. Lily glanced down at Badge, who had gotten bored with the conversation and was now investigating an interesting smell in the corner of the room. "Badge will adapt. That's what he does." "That might not be enough this time," the blue-skinned cadet said gently. "Maybe not, but it's all we have." Lily stood up. "Thank you all for coming." "Really, but I need to finish preparing." The group exchanged glances but nodded. They filed out slowly, each offering some variation of good luck. Ravish was the last to leave. "For what it's worth," he said at the door, "I'm hoping you win. Earth deserves its moment." After they left, Lily returned to studying the holographic projections. Badge came back and dropped a ball at her feet expectantly. She threw it across the room, and he chased after it with enthusiasm. "They're right, you know," Lily said when Badge returned with the ball. "This one's going to be hard." Badge dropped the ball and tilted his head, as if asking what her point was. Lily smiled and threw the ball again. Later that evening, Commander Dresch visited her quarters. He stood in the doorway, his old eyes taking in the scene. Badge was eating dinner from his bowl while Lily reviewed notes on her datapad. "May I come in?" Dresch asked. "Of course, Commander." Dresch entered and sat in the offered chair. He watched Badge eat for a moment. "I wanted to tell you something before the finals." "Sir, I fought in the Frontier Wars 30 years ago, before Earth joined the galactic community officially. There was a border dispute with a hostile faction. Dresch's voice carried the weight of old memories. Human soldiers fought alongside us. I commanded a mixed unit with about 20 humans." Lily set down her datapad. "I didn't know humans were involved in that conflict. It's not widely publicized, but you were there in limited numbers. And I learned something during that war." Dresch looked at her directly. "Humans don't quit. Your soldiers would be wounded, exhausted, running on minimal supplies, and they kept fighting. Not because they were stronger or better armed than other species, but because giving up didn't seem to occur to them as an option." "We're stubborn," Lily agreed. "It's more than stubbornness. It's a fundamental part of how Earth shaped you. Your planet taught you that survival means continuing even when the situation seems impossible." Dresch gestured at Badge. That animal embodies the same lesson. He's not the biggest or strongest, but he survived Earth by never giving up. Are you saying we can win tomorrow? I'm saying the outcome isn't determined by size or armor. It's determined by will. Dresh stood up. Corvin's scorpion is formidable, but it comes from a world where strength was enough. Badge comes from a world where strength alone was never enough. That's a different kind of dangerous. After Dresh left, Lily prepared for sleep. Badge finished his meal and jumped onto the sleeping area, curling up at the foot of her bed. She lay awake for a while, thinking about tomorrow. The crystalline scorpion was unlike anything Badge had faced before. Its armor was nearly impenetrable. Its venom could turn flesh to stone. Its size and reach gave it control of the battlefield. But Ravish's Thornback had been faster and more aggressive than Badge. Swift had been able to fly and attack from angles Badge couldn't reach. Every opponent had advantages that should have been decisive. Every opponent had lost. Lily reached down and scratched Badge's ears. The honey badger made a content grumbling sound in his sleep. "One more match," Lily whispered. "Then everyone will know what Earth really is." Badge's only response was a soft snore. The next morning arrived with clear skies. The arena weather control had been repaired overnight. Lily arrived early, wanting time to let Badge acclimate to the environment before the match began. The arena was already filling with spectators. This was the tournament final, and interest had spread beyond just the academy. Lily could see various species in the stands, some wearing insignias from military branches, others appearing to be civilian observers or media representatives. Corvin was already in the arena when Lily arrived. He was tall for his species, with dark green skin and multiple arms. His crystalline scorpion stood beside him, its transparent body catching the light in beautiful and terrible ways. Corvin approached Lily with measured steps. "Cadet Reed, I wanted to speak before we compete. Of course, you have fought well in this tournament. Your companion has proven formidable despite his size." Corvin's voice was deep and formal. "I will give you my best effort. You deserve no less." "I appreciate that. Regardless of outcome, you have earned respect throughout the academy. Earth is no longer seen as a minor world." Corvin gestured at his scorpion. "That is an achievement beyond any tournament victory." "Thank you," Lily said sincerely. They shook hands, a gesture Corvin had learned from studying human customs. Then they separated to prepare for the match. Lily knelt down next to Badge. The honey badger looked at the crystalline scorpion with his usual calm interest. "No fear, no aggression, just assessment. That's a tough opponent," Lily said quietly. "Probably the toughest you've faced." Badge huffed softly. "But we've made it this far. Everyone thought we'd lose in the first round. Then they thought we'd lose in the semifinals. And here we are." Lily scratched behind Badge's ears. "Whatever happens, I'm proud of you." Badge licked her hand, then turned his attention back to the scorpion. Commander Dresh's voice echoed through the arena. Tournament finals. Cadet Corvin of Drell with his companion Crystal against Cadet Lily Reed of Earth with her companion Badge. Standard tournament rules apply. This match will determine the tournament champion. The crowd's noise was deafening. Lily could see cadets she'd met throughout the tournament in the stands. Ravish, Sela, and others were all watching intently. "Competitors, enter your command zones." Lily walked to her booth, Badge trotting beside her. At the entrance, she unclipped his leash. "See you on the other side," she said. Badge made his usual grumbling sound and walked onto the arena floor. Across the arena, the crystalline scorpion moved to its starting position. The creature was massive up close, easily 3 times Badge's size. Its tail curved overhead, stinger gleaming like a dagger made of glass. Lily entered her command booth. The walls sealed around her. Through the transparent barrier, she could see everything clearly. The countdown began 0.5 seconds until the final started 0.4.3.2.1. The buzzer sounded and the arena floor became a battlefield. Crystal moved first, 8 legs carrying the massive scorpion forward with mechanical precision. The creature's transparent exoskeleton refracted the arena lights in a scattered rainbows across the floor. Its tail remained poised overhead, Stinger ready to strike with calculated patience. Badge didn't charge this time. He circled instead, keeping distance while studying his opponent. The honey badger's eyes tracked the scorpion's movements, watching how each leg placed itself, how the tail adjusted for balance. Crystal struck with its tail, a lightning-fast thrust aimed at Badge's center mass. The honey badger rolled aside, and the stinger hit the metal floor with a sound like breaking glass. Small cracks appeared where the stinger impacted, then sealed themselves immediately as the crystalline structure repaired. The crowd made appreciative sounds. Both animals were being cautious, intelligent. This wasn't going to be a quick match. Badge moved closer, testing the scorpion's reaction range. Crystal pivoted smoothly, keeping Badge in front of its face where all 8 eyes could track the smaller creature. The scorpion's claws snapped forward, trying to grab. Badge dodged, but barely. One claw scraped across his shoulder, drawing blood. The honey badger's thick skin prevented deep penetration, but the crystalline edge was sharp enough to see in her command booth. Lily watched without moving. Her hands rested on the control panel, but she hadn't touched any buttons. Badge was fighting on pure instinct and experience. Crystal pressed the advantage, advancing with methodical steps. The scorpion used its size to control space, limiting where Badge could move. Another tail strike forced Badge toward the arena wall. The crowd leaned forward. This looked like the beginning of the end. Backed against the wall with limited escape routes, Badge would have to take risks that could be fatal. Badge did something unexpected. Instead of trying to escape along the wall, he went under the scorpion. Crystal was too large to simply flip over. The scorpion tried to adjust, legs moving to track Badge's position, but the honey badger was faster in close quarters. Badge went for the joints between the exoskeleton segments where the armor was thinner. His teeth found purchase on one of Crystal's legs. The honey badger's jaw clamped down with crushing force. The crystalline structure was incredibly strong, but the joint had a flex to allow movement. That flexibility meant slightly less armor. Something cracked. Crystal made a sound, a high-pitched vibration that came from somewhere inside its body. The scorpion tried to shake Badge off, but the honey badger held on, his powerful neck muscles straining. Another crack. The leg joint began to fracture. Crystal did the only thing it could. The scorpion dropped its weight, trying to crush Badge underneath. The maneuver worked partially. Badge had to release his grip and scramble out from under the descending mass. But when Crystal stood back up, one leg was damaged. Not broken completely, but weakened. The scorpion's movement was slightly uneven now. Corvin watched from his command booth, his multiple hands moving across the control panel. He was sending tactical suggestions to Crystal, trying to help the scorpion adapt. But the damage was done. The fight had changed. Badge circled again, staying out of tail range, but close enough to threaten more attacks on the legs. Crystal had to defend now instead of just attack. The scorpion struck with its tail repeatedly, trying to force Badge back. Each strike was precise and powerful, but Badge had learned the attack pattern. He dodged one strike, avoided another, and used a third as an opportunity. When the tail struck downward, Badge jumped onto it. The crowd gasped. The crystalline stinger was deadly venom, but the tail itself was armor. Badge used it like a ramp, running up toward the scorpion's body. Crystal tried to shake the honey badger off, tail whipping back and forth violently. Badge reached the joint where the tail connected to the body. He bit down, but Crystal's vibrating sound became louder, more distressed. The scorpion rolled, trying to dislodge Badge with sheer force. They tumbled across the arena floor together, a mess of crystal and fur. When they separated, both animals were injured. Crystal's tail was cracked at the base, limiting its mobility. Badge was bleeding from multiple cuts where the crystalline edges had sliced his skin. The honey badger stood up and shook himself. Blood dripped from his fur onto the arena floor. His breathing was heavier now, showing fatigue. But his eyes remained focused. Crystal tried to advance, but the damaged leg and tail made movement difficult. The scorpion was built for power and defense, not for fighting wounded. Every injured joint compromised the entire structure. Badge pressed the attack. He went for another leg, teeth grinding against Crystal. The scorpion tried to grab him with its claws, but Badge's loose skin made him difficult to hold. When Crystal did manage a grip, Badge simply twisted and the skin slid through the claw's grasp. Another leg joint cracked, the Corvin's face showed strain. His companion was in serious trouble. Crystal was still dangerous, but mobility was everything in combat. With multiple damaged legs and a compromised tail, the scorpion couldn't effectively attack or defend. Badge didn't stop. He targeted another leg with systematic precision. This wasn't wild aggression. This was intelligent hunting. Badge had identified the scorpion's weakness and was exploiting it methodically. The fourth leg joint cracked. Crystal tried to compensate, shifting weight to the remaining functional legs. But the scorpion's balance was broken. When Badge hit the fifth leg, Crystal began to topple. The massive crystalline body fell sideways, unable to support itself properly. The scorpion tried to right itself, but with damaged legs on one side, the attempt only made things worse. Corvin made his decision. Stop the match. His voice came through the speakers. I forfeit. The buzzer sounded immediately. Barriers dropped between the animals. Medical teams rushed onto the arena floor from multiple entrances. The crowd erupted. Not just cheering, but genuine celebration mixed with disbelief. The human cadet and her honey badger had won the tournament. Lily exited her command booth and walked quickly to Badge. The honey badger sat where he was, panting heavily. Blood matted his fur in several places, and he looked exhausted. But his tail wagged when he saw Lily approaching. She knelt beside him while medical staff scanned him with their equipment. You did it, she said softly. You actually did it. Badge made a tired, grumbling sound and leaned against her leg. The medical staff worked quickly. Multiple lacerations, one reported. Some deep, but none critical. No venom exposure detected. His blood chemistry is unusual, but stable. He's a honey badger, Lily explained. Tough is what they do. Across the arena, Crystal was being examined by a different medical team. The scorpion's damaged legs were being stabilized. Corvin stood nearby, watching his companion receive treatment. After a few minutes, Corvin walked over to where Lily sat with Badge. The tall alien looked down at the small honey badger with genuine respect. I have never seen Crystal defeated, Corvin said. Your companion fought with remarkable intelligence. Crystal is incredibly strong, Lily replied. Badge just found the weak points. There are no weak points, only points that are less strong than others. Your companion understood the difference. Corvin knelt down, careful to stay at a respectful distance from Badge. I researched Earth after your previous matches. Your planet teaches survival through adaptation, not just strength. That's accurate. Commander Dresch's voice boomed through the arena. Tournament champion, Cadet Lily Reed, and her companion Badge of Earth. The crowd's response was overwhelming. Species from dozens of worlds cheered together. Lily saw Ravish and Sela in the stands, both making gestures of celebration in their respective cultures. The award ceremony was held in the center of the arena. Lily stood on a platform with Badge sitting beside her. Commander Dresch presented her with the tournament trophy, a crystal sculpture representing unity between warrior and companion. This tournament teaches us many lessons, Dresch announced to the crowd. Today we learned that strength comes in many forms. That size is not the same as power. That resilience can overcome raw force. He looked at Lily, and we learned that Earth deserves our respect and attention. The crowd cheered again. Lily accepted the trophy but kept her speech brief. Thank you. Badge did all the hard work. I just watched. He represents what Earth is. Not the strongest or the fastest, but survivors who never give up. Every species on my planet earned their place by refusing to quit. That's what makes us dangerous. After the ceremony, cadets swarmed around Lily. Everyone wanted to talk about Earth, about honey badgers, about human capabilities. Ravish and Sela pushed through the crowd to reach her. You changed everything, Sela said, her feathers puffed with excitement. Earth's classification is already being reviewed by the Galactic Council. Human applications to combat academies are increasing rapidly, Ravish added. Everyone wants to see what other surprises your planet holds. Lily smiled tiredly. Badge had fallen asleep against her leg, completely exhausted but content. Later, back in her quarters, Lily placed the trophy on a shelf. Badge was already asleep in his bed, snoring softly. She received a message from her family back on Earth. They had watched the tournament through galactic feeds and were incredibly proud. Lily sent a reply thanking them, then sat down to rest. Her datapad showed news articles already being written about the tournament. Headlines talked about Earth's hidden dangers and human potential. She looked over at Badge, who had rolled onto his back in his sleep, paws in the air. He looked ridiculous, not scary or dangerous, just a small animal sleeping peacefully. But everyone in the galaxy was learning what Earth had known for millions of years. The most dangerous creatures weren't always the biggest or strongest. Sometimes they were the ones who simply refused to lose. Lily smiled and turned off the lights. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities. Earth was no longer the overlooked mild world. Badge had proven that survival meant something different on Earth. A team meant never giving up, no matter what the odds looked like. And the galaxy was just beginning to understand what that really meant.